Hugely important, hugely important. I mean, these conferences are one of the highlights of the calendar. AFSA seems to have a reach that nobody else has in terms of being able to bring different parts of fire and rescue services together into an environment where people feel safe to challenge, safe to share good ideas, and that's so important to us as a sector as we move forward.
AFSA is incredibly important to the national conversation. You know, they bring that voice, that lived experience, and the challenge, you know, and the constructive challenge back into fire and rescue services, into the National Fire Chiefs Council. Are the services, are the products that we're producing reflective of the needs of communities and individuals who work in fire and rescue services? And that kind of real insight is so important and so crucial in delivering better outcomes for communities. Oh, I love the fact that Jack is pushing the fire and rescue service and the NFCC to deliver better outcomes. That's important. You know, the only way we improve is by people being supportive, but kind of critiquing the services that we deliver, looking at opportunities to improve, even if it's just marginally, to make sure that the outcomes are better. So the more we are able to learn, the more we are able to listen, the better we will become.
I think it's unique, actually, and I think today is a really good example of a great platform where these conversations can be had and held, and we can put challenge in, we can challenge each other, we're challenging up, we're asking NFCC what are you doing about it, quite rightly, but equally we can push back and go, okay, well, what are we as a collective doing about it back in service, and what difference are we making? Is it making a difference? So I think these conferences are unique. They're a great opportunity, and I talked about being a great platform for networking, for highlighting great work, for seeing potential, and for really pushing people forward and giving them a bit of confidence.
I think staff associations like AFSA are incredibly important. I was slightly dismissive. When I joined policing, I was nearly 25. I'd come from 2 different professions. I'd grown up in all white environments, and I did not want to stand out. I didn't want to be an activist. I didn't want to be militant. I'd experienced my fair share of racism, but I had learned to what I call fit in or F off. FIFO is the acronym. Largely because I just wanted people to see that I was good at my job. I wasn't interested in anything other than my merit. Basically, the quality of my work and my character is the only thing I was interested in. The difficulty is not everyone judges you like that. Lots of people judge you by appearance. And unless you reach out and you find friendships and allies of people who feel the same way in exactly the same way AFSA feels about diversity, equality of opportunity and inclusion, there are plenty of allies out there who feel that way. I just never reached out and asked for help. Now, the place you're going to find that help is normally amongst people who are experiencing the same things as you. The most important thing for staff associations is not to close themselves off to other views. And what I have found rather unique about AFSA is you are inclusive by design. I mean, last night's dinner following the first day of your conference, I have seldom been in a room for a staff association in my profession that contains so many men, women, black, Asian, white, senior, young. I mean, it was an incredibly diverse room. You don't normally see that because staff associations often become clubs that start to become inward-looking and start to become rather victim-based, and that's a mistake. You've got to reach out and you've got to speak to people, and that's what AFSA appears to me to do brilliantly.
I think I have to compliment AFSA, to be honest, because what it has done, as it has almost provided that voice to a large group of staff and people, but more importantly, it has provided voice on a policy debate on an issue which is so important about why we need to be inclusive, because inclusion brings, as I said earlier, inclusion means change and bringing a cultural change, and we cannot do that unless the whole organization is on board. And that's why I came back and I said earlier that leaders and leadership play an important role. So support network like AFSA is great, and I think what the sector should do is work more closely with AFSA.